So this is the part of the video where you get comedy relief. A complete relief from comedy because we are not funny at all.
We think we're funny.
Oh yes, we think we're hysterical, but you all might disagree with us. Go that way. So you may be asking yourself, why is the Miniac doing a video with a scuba diving YouTuber? Well, we're going to submerge this car in Clinton Lake. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that.
But that'd be so cool.
Maybe we'll do your Jeep in Clinton Lake.
Yeah, we can try it out.
We can try it.
Might as well, right?
Might as well. So the reason I have Ray with me today is because he's going to be talking about the GoPro Hero 13, that camera right there. Now, this is the latest GoPro from GoPro, and I've only been using it for a little bit and I really like it, but Ray has a little bit more inside knowledge with these cameras, which is why I brought him here. So tell me a little bit about the camera.
So, of course, like you touched on, it is GoPro's newest action camera. The Hero 13, there are a few different features. You can see it actually looks different than previous GoPros. It has these grooves on the front. That's actually to help with overheating, which I know is something that you're concerned with, because when you're recording videos, oftentimes you're recording for long periods of time,
And
correct?
definitely, when I have it like if I have it in the windshield, on the roof, anywhere on the outside of the vehicle, especially in the summertime when it gets really hot, you want to have a way to disperse the heat. And before the best ways to do it were like heat sinks and aluminum cages, anything to kind of get the heat away from the camera.
Right.
And partly the issue with the camera and the reason that they tend to overheat is the battery. So in some instances, I've seen people actually take the batteries out of these cameras and use an external power source, which in some way disperses that heat. It doesn't cause it to build up in the camera.
Right, and speaking of the battery, the Hero 13 also has a brand new battery, which was kind of shocking because we haven't seen a new battery design from GoPro in a few years.
Yeah.
So if you get the 13, you have to buy a whole bunch of new batteries,
Which I did.
Which is unfortunate. However, battery life is vastly improved on that. Besides for that, really the huge headliner features with this are accessories that come with it. I know both of us are very excited with the lens options that come with this camera. Internally, it still films in 5.3K video, 4K. It also goes up to 400 frames per second down in 1080p. So yeah, pretty crazy. I'm very happy with my 13 so far.
400 frames per second.
Crazy,
so
right?
So if you guys saw my frame per second video I did recently, I went up to 240. I didn't go any higher than that. So 400 frames per second is insane.
It is crazy. That is something that shocked me when I saw it as a feature on the 13 for sure.
Yes. So the rest of this video will be done in 400 frames per second, so we go very, very slow. I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that.
It's going to be like a 30-minute video.
It's going to be a 30-minute video. It's going to be a 30-minute video for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It's like us just kind of moving. We're not going to do that. But part of this also works into mounting these cameras on the car, as I just mentioned, because now that this camera has a little bit of a better heat sink on it, a little bit better battery life, better settings, it's time to see how you can attach one to these cars. And not just Mini Coopers, any car in general. I mean, you could put this on a Mini, you could put it on a Jeep. Where can we put them where we're going to get the best video?
Right.
And in your case, you probably might even be able to tell me best quality of video or best settings to have where the camera is positioned. For example, like I'm out on the windshield of the car, what would be the best settings for that amount of heat or light you're going to have?
I think so your car is really unique in the fact that, say you have your camera mounted up here and you have a white roof, right?
Yes.
And if it's a sunny day like it pretty much is today, you're going to get a lot of light bouncing off of that. So for example, you're going to want to lower your frames per second if you're getting any of this in your video. However, if it's down here, you can have a higher frames per second, which allows you to do slow motion, play around with it more while editing. So it depends on where you're putting it on your car, but there's a lot to play around with for sure.
All right, so I just mounted this camera mount to my car. This is one of the new ones from GoPro, and it uses this carbon fiber tubing with these elbows to create pretty much any shape you want. Now, I know, Ray, you don't have this one.
I don't, not yet, because it is a very new accessory. However, it is on my bucket list because it's incredibly useful, especially for somebody like yourself. Like, you can mount this basically anywhere you want, correct?
Yes.
And especially mounting it on a car, it's perfect because you can orient it any way you want, you can stick it anywhere you want. It is the perfect accessory for a car.
Yeah, and it also comes with a Allen key, so you can make adjustments as you need to. It does have an Allen screw here, here, and here, but it also has these ribbed thumb screws right here, and you can even use a screwdriver to tighten them up if you need to. Now, it is different from the normal thumb screws that GoPro typically uses, so I'm not sure how that's going to age. They may change this in the coming year.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, just because this is very kind of outside of what GoPro typically does for their mounts. They usually are very thumb screw oriented on them. Okay, so some people have asked if these mounts are waterproof. Now, I have this on the outside of the car. I've driven with it in the rain. I've had a camera mounted in the rain even. And from that perspective, it is waterproof. But what is your perspective on this?
Well, they all GoPro sticky mounts do pretty well in water. They do sell ones that are specifically made for underwater use. They're waterproof. Those are the ones that I use when I go diving. So if you want to be 100% safe, those are the ones to buy. But typically, in a place like this where it's exposed to a little bit of water via rain or something like that, you're going to be just fine.
So Ray, I bet you've never seen a mount like this before.
You know, I've seen like suction cup mounts before, but nothing quite to this extent.
Okay, so this is the Fat Gecko by Delkin, and it's a 3 suction cup mount, and effectively, you could practically rip the window off the car with this.
It is on there.
It is on there, yeah. So it uses 3 mounts, and they're very, very secure, really secure. And then you mount your camera right up here. You can mount any camera you want. I think this thing can even hold a DSLR.
Wow.
So
that is
pretty
incredible.
solid. And in fact, if you take the GoPro mount off, there is your spot to mount a regular camera.
There you go. Yeah, so you could technically mount other cameras besides for action cameras.
Yeah, exactly. You can do almost anything on these. I've seen them mounted inside race cars even for track videos, and it's really impressive. I mean, I really like them. In fact, I've attached a really long boom to this one before and run it across the side of the car.
Wow.
For like a really different shot. Like I had to get a shot where I was driving the car, so I had the camera coming across with the boom, and then the camera turned inside the car so they could see me while I was filming. Yeah. So this is one of my favorites. I have 2 of these, largely because you can also take the 3rd foot off and use as a 2 foot. And they do make one that is just a 2 foot, but honestly, the 3 foot is what you really want.
That is incredible. Like I said, I've never seen this before. It is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's just really cool. Okay, Ray, you probably have not seen, you might have seen this one before. You're a Jeep owner, so you might have seen this one before. This is the Sea Sucker, and this thing is on there. This thing is designed to hold to the roof even. They make roof racks with these that you can like attach to vehicles that are just made with suction cups, and these are really strong. But they also make one for cameras. So you can attach a regular camera to this. You can attach a GoPro. You can attach any action camera you want to this. So you'll also notice that you can take this thing off. You can mount it here, but you can also mount it right here.
Oh, nice.
And just thread it in, and you have it there. I've used that mount a couple of times, but it just works really well. It depends on the applications, but you can effectively put this thing on here, put your camera on it. It's not going anywhere.
Right.
It's going to stay there. It's not going to fly off. You're going to be good. So great mounting point.
For sure. So Zach, tell me about this mount right here.
Well, this is made by Cravenspeed. Now they make these for numerous applications for almost any vehicle, including Jeeps.
Nice.
And it's designed to basically mount where your antenna is. Now, for people who don't know this is just an AM antenna. It doesn't actually function as an FM antenna. The FM antenna is embedded in the typically rear window.
Right.
So this is designed to replace, in my case, this little stubby antenna right here. And then it's fully adjustable. You can swivel it around as you need to. You can turn it all the way around. You can attach a longer boom like the one we have on the windshield.
Yeah.
You can attach that to this even and create kind of like a chase camera almost.
Yeah.
And it's really nicely adjustable. It has ball bearings inside of it so it can spin completely freely around, so you can pretty much put it at any angle you would like for whatever filming application you're trying to do.
Right. I see this coming in handy, especially if you wanted to do like a time-lapse video of
Exactly.
like driving somewhere far. And
Exactly.
Getting a really good look at a time-lapse, I think this would come in handy.
Or even a mountain road.
Right, exactly.
Or just pretty much anything. It works really well for that purpose.
Yeah.
So Ray, let's say I'm mounting my GoPro Hero 13 to the roof of the car.
Okay.
I have it on super view, and I'm aiming it toward the front. My goal was to do a driving video.
Okay.
what settings would be optimal for this situation?
So like I touched on a little bit earlier, you have a white rooftop. And so when it's a sunny day like this, you're gonna get a lot of light bouncing off of your roof. So you're gonna wanna lower your ISO to probably about 800 at the max to make sure you're not getting too overexposed. Super view, of course, you're gonna be capturing a very wide field of view, which is really good, having it here in the middle on top of your car. I would say try to record in 4K. A lot of people see 5.3K and they just always want to film in that. However, it's not always the best option because it does take away some playing around when it comes to frames per second. If you can have your frames per second at around, I would say 60 is the best to go up here. So 4K 60 super view and having your ISO lowered is going to make the footage up here really good. What do we have here, Zach?
Well, this is another mount from Cravenspeed. It's designed to fit into your tow hook, and basically you screw it right in. It has a bolt at the front to attach it so you can make adjustments as needed, and then you can fully adjust your camera mount as you need to. So if you want to have it aimed a certain direction or whatever, you can then do that. And very straightforward, very easy to install. Just make sure you don't lose your cap. You might want to actually just take it off and put it inside the car.
Probably a good idea.
But then you have this out here and you can attach your camera. Great for autocross racing or track driving. It's just a good place to have it. If you're doing track driving where you're going to be wheel to wheel, don't put this on the front of the car if you're a fan of bump drafting, because you don't want to lose your camera.
Yeah, that is important.
Yeah, but it's very, very solid, very nice design. This is actually one of their more recent updates. They redesigned this thing. It used to be a little bit different. But the new design, I think, works really, really well for most camera applications.
Yeah. It's yet another mount and accessory that I have not seen before. Super, super cool.
But I do have one more mount.
Ooh, do you?
Yep.
Let's check it out.
Okay, Ray, so same scenario as the roof. I am doing a driving video, but now the camera's gonna be mounted on the front of the car.
Right.
I may do super view. I might just do normal linear plus with horizon lock.
Right.
What would you do up here as far as settings?
So I would say your number one priority here, because you're gonna be so close to the road, is to have a high frames per second. Because if you're shooting at 24 or 30 frames per second, with the fast moving road, it might look a little bit wonky. So I would say 60 frames per second at the minimum. You could even go up to 120 or 240. I would say 60 to 120 is that sweet spot. Again, 4K is probably the best route to go at. That's what I recommend most people shoot at on their GoPro. If you were filming something besides for just driving around, like say you have your camera here because you're filming a car in front of you or a view in front of you, it'll be a good idea to have HDR video as well. It'll make the sky pop more, it'll make all the colors around you pop as well. And yeah, all of those combined will make footage right here look really good.
Awesome. Okay, Ray, so you mentioned higher frames per second when you're down close to the road. Now, what if I don't want to see the texture of the road? What if I want to kind of give the feeling of speed?
Well, I mean, that's the thing when it comes to settings. It's all up to your preference, what you want to capture, right? So if you're wanting to, make it seem like you're traveling faster than you are, then a lower frames per second will probably be the route to go. But if you're just going for like crisp, cinematic looking video, you want to see a lot of detail, then a higher frames per second is going to work.
Okay, so if I were driving on like the Blue Ridge Parkway, where it's really pretty right now with the fall leaves and everything, I would probably want the best, highest frame per second to get that really crisp detail and the beautiful scenery.
So there, I would probably recommend 4K 120 or 4K 60. HDR would also be a really good option there because it's going to make all the details and the colors pop a lot more. Mm-hmm. So it's going to make the footage look more cinematic.
Now, say I'm doing a lap around Virginia International Raceway.
So there, that depends on your preference. If you want to look faster than you're already going, then have a lower frames per second. But if you want to try to capture every little detail, I don't even know if 400 frames per second is going to help you there if you're traveling at a high rate of speed. But again, it all comes down to what you want to capture. If you want more detail, higher frames per second. If you want it to look quicker and maybe a little more cool, then have a lower frames per second.
Fantastic. Okay, so I told you I had one more camera mount that is really cool.
Correct.
It applies to you though.
Okay.
It's this mount.
So what are we gonna do with this?
Well, to use this one, we need a bit of a change of scenery. So if you'll indulge my humor here.
Okay. What? How did we get here?
Magic.
Really?
No, actually, it was video editing.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yes, much more sense. But we also need to do something about this car. This car will not do for this particular mount that we have. So it's over there, but I don't want to walk.
I guess I'll bring it over here.
No. We can just do it again.
Okay, we are over here.
You a little car sick yet?
I'm good, but we should probably cool it a little bit before I get to that point.
Yeah, we'll snap to it, but not that kind of snap. Anyway, so this is a roll bar mount from GoPro, and it uses a screw action right here so you can open it up. It's a clamp, rubber mount on the inside so it securely fastens. We do need to do a few more things here. We need to get your roof off your Jeep.
That will be no problem.
Maybe just the front part.
Okay, we can do that.
Let's get to that. So there we have Ray's 13 is now up on the roof, mounted on a roll bar mount. Now this is made by GoPro, like I mentioned. And after a little bit of fiddling, we did manage to get it in there where you can actually use it. And good spot for it. Windshield kind of blocks just a hair.
Just a little bit.
I think for quick videos, it'd be a fun place to have a mount. And oddly enough, this could actually be hidden down with your roof.
Definitely, yeah.
So you could have that up there and then just take your roof off whenever you want and just put that up there and have fun with it.
Yeah.
But that's this mount. Now, there's other places on your vehicle that you could mount a camera with a roll bar mount, no less. I mean, literally unlimited possibilities on this vehicle, even suction cup mounts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Unlimited possibilities. You got windows, you got doors. Literally the sky's the limit. And I do actually have one more roll bar mount that we can test out.
Okay.
So you happen to have tubular side steps, which makes mounting a camera for some, if you were to go off-roading, some crawling scenes.
Right.
Perfect.
Look at that.
Now imagine if you had a tubular front bumper.
Now that would come in handy today.
You literally could do everything.
Yeah.
So as far as mounting your camera, sky's the limit. Now, out of curiosity, what camera settings would you use for these?
So up there, I actually have that filming an HDR video right now, 4K 60 linear, with sharpness on high and 10-bit color. So yeah, especially today, the sun's out, you can see all around. There are bright colors everywhere. The video is gonna look really, really good.
Well, there you go. Now what about the one down there if you were gonna do some rock crawling?
So there, I would not have HDR. I would probably be recording in 4K 120, keeping 10-bit color on and sharpness on high as well.
Well, there you go. So, with that being said, I think before we end this video, we should probably go do a quick drive around the lake and show off all those nice settings in that camera with all this pretty fall color out here.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, there you have it. We've done a video on not just where to mount the new GoPro Hero 13, but also
the best settings to use on the Hero 13.
Exactly. And if you like what you see on my video, check out more content on this channel at the end of this video. And if you want to check out some of Ray's content, especially his scuba diving stuff, head to the link in the video description below. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm recording audio.
What's up, guys?
You'll notice you can also dent your car.
We're good. We're good.
Caught him off guard. If you'll indulge my humor here.
Okay. What? What? How did we get here?
Give this man an Oscar. Bravo, bravo. All right, let's try the actual take.